How's it going?
My stupid dumbass shoulder is fine now.
Okay, cool.
I took my Tylenol and I took my Advils,
Quick recovery.
and I'm all better now.
Nice. Okay.
Um last week um last week I mentioned that I had hurt my shoulder, and you're like, how are you? Sorry, you said, how are you the guy coming in here like bruises and injuries?
Mm-hmm.
And I know, because you had recently been in a
Yeah,
fight.
I've been in a fight. Yes.
And then I went and I took a look at that fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, how did you make it out of that without grievous injury?
Yeah, no, that
was crazy.
yeah, that was a real fight. So over on Versus Wolves, I fought John, and that was boxing. There's a little bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu in there, and then just fucking Hangman's Field final field punch violent go.
So I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Because that was a long episode, and I'm like, no, I just want to skim this to get to the fighty bits.
Yeah.
That first round, why were you guys just punching each other in the dick for 10 minutes?
So in the
What the fuck is that? Why were you
in the gym?
Because I thought it was gonna be like, well, we're internet people, so not the face.
In the gym?
But then later the face, so that wasn't the reason.
Yeah. Okay, so in the gym.
Yeah, in the gym. You were just like all tummy.
Right. So that is called body sparring. And what body sparring is basically when people are amateur and generally beginning at sparring, and you haven't done it much, you do body sparring as a way of like, you avoid going wild swinging for the head. A lot of people that are kind of nuts will just go too hard and potentially do serious injury to people. Or if you show up and you don't have mouth guards or protection or whatever. And body sparring is just to kind of get the fundamentals of moving around, and you can take more to the body overall than you can like to the head. And
I can take way more to the body.
Yeah.
Then like way more. I got it like when I was younger, maybe not, but now I got all this nice, help.
Right. And here's the thing is, like, if you're going in there with people that are just, you don't know who you're dealing with if you're all beginners. And if someone just is like, and just goes full swing hard at your head and you're both beginners, someone can get seriously hurt really badly.
So I hold up my hand for a follow-up question.
Yes.
But isn't that cool as fuck?
Yes, it is cool if you agree.
Isn't that like
if you agree
cool as shit to do?
If you agree to take on this potential risk, then it's rad as hell, and you might get fucking get your bell rung, However, the legal responsibilities of a trained coach, who Coach Lou, we were over at UD Performance, he is going to be like, he cannot legally allow us to get in the ring without him sitting there, right?
Okay.
There are responsibilities that he's like, like gonna take for people that are beginners. And if you want to go in with like some headgear afterwards, which there was one round of that with John versus Command Grab James, you can take that, you can do that or so. But for the most part, beginners are supposed to body spar. That's what that was. And
okay, but I thought you were like not a beginner.
Well, no, when it comes to sparring, I'm absolutely a beginner. That's the thing, right? So confusing, but basically go ahead.
I have a question I've never asked you in my entire life.
Yep.
You're a big, tall guy. And I have never seen you like aggro up in anger in any context ever.
Okay.
Like just get unreasonable and like, I'm going to be big and scary. When you were like growing up, how many like physical scraps did you get into on average a year?
I got into many fights with, there's brothers and cousins, which is just like whatever.
No,
but real fights at school type things.
I mean like aggressive, violent, like attack fisticuffs.
Yeah, got into fights at school for sure. I'd say towards the like middle to end of high school, there were like a pronounced 4 that stand out. But it wasn't. It was definitely, you know, there's a lot of random dumb kid shit overall, and then like, yeah, I'd say between like grades 9 and 11, there were like 4 big ones I can think of, you know.
Because like one of the things that I was thinking of when I was like watching this back and forth is like there's a certain aura that people give off that you don't give off, and I don't think I give off, but I have known people who do. When you talk to them and you like argue with them and you back and forth, and you're like, you've never been fucking punched in the face. Like, you know that feeling?
Oh yeah.
Or like you've never had an argument escalate to the point where you got fucking rocked out of nowhere. And I feel like that's affecting your like view of the world.
Yes, the way you treat people is as someone who has not felt a fucking punch to the face. Absolutely.
And like also the other thing is that like people who have never been like fucking rocked, like I feel like they think they're gonna die if someone hits them. But you're not. You're just gonna be like, you're gonna make that no, you know, that noise.
Yeah, and I mean, depends on how hard you get hit and what it is, right? There's a difference between, you know, getting rocked with a raw fist versus like a glove, you know. And
I'll take the glove.
Well, so here's the interesting thing about gloves, right? There's a part in that video where like the coach is explaining, he's talking to us and giving us just like overall boxing information. One of those things is like the difference between MMA, bare knuckle boxing, and then like large like 16-ounce gloves or so is you would think that like the raw fist would be worse in a lot of ways just because of the idea of it. There's no protection. But the fact that there's no protection means the person swinging at you cannot swing as hard. And the damage they take themselves also means that there's a difference in how the pain hits and how the distribution of impact is. So for all these different reasons, what you end up with is a lot more cuts and like bruises from a raw, like a smaller glove or like a raw knuckle. But a large padded glove is just diluting all of that into a spread point, but the impact is much harder because you can swing harder, right? So there's more concussive force.
Breaking your hand is not fun.
Yeah, there's more concussive force coming at you with a large 16-ounce glove compared to bare knuckle, right? And so that's kind of the difference. If someone is on the street just swinging at you, you know, they can, unless they land a perfect good night like swing, you're not usually going to see someone go to sleep.
On the chin or the temple or something.
Exactly. But a large glove has a higher chance of doing that for sure. And yeah, so that what you kind of saw was just some body sparring at first, and you know that's what that was. And then afterwards, looking back at that, and then, you know, some of the pre-release kind of like hype and stuff, it was like, we can do better, we can go further than that. And then that was a decision to like take it to the field and go for real.
So you also had the middle part, which was y'all were doing BJJ.
Yeah.
And I'm not super familiar, but apparently John is more into that shit.
Yes, he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy
and that is definitely apparent.
Yep.
Watching that video.
Yep.
So I have a question for you on a strategy perspective. I want to know what you were thinking when you were trying to out footsie Daigo. So I watched that because like when I'm decades out of date. The last thing I ever did was I was like 15, 16, right? But like I noticed that you kept trying to grab his leg, right? Probably for a sweep or like an ankle lock or something like that, right? But I noticed that when you would go in, you would like completely open up your body and offer your head to his arms and get caught like that in a just a standard choke. And then you'd be a really big man, and like you would take like a really long time to tap, and it doesn't look like that long on the video. But as somebody who's been in that choke, you took a weirdly long time to tap. And I'm wondering if you had like a strategy with that. You were going to like offer yourself up and then get in there and then like tickle his balls a little bit, and he would giggle, and then that would give you the opportunity to get in. Something. Did that just not work out?
So what the black belt, the command grab James taught was essentially I learned like two.
Just a little tickle. Just no.
I learned 2 moves, and the second of which I forgot, which was it's a grounded thing where you kind of it was a whole flip thing, and I was like, yeah, I don't remember. So the only thing I really knew was just a double leg takedown, which is a type of thing you could do, and when you're rolling with somebody, it's rolling Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is what you're doing. There's a whole lot of things you're thinking about, and if you can go like, I caught you off guard, tackle you to the ground, that's a good way to like get the advantage. But if you're
unless somebody knows that you can just
somebody's been doing it for a lifetime, and they've got their belt, and they're like, oh well, the counter to this is to then do that, and it was funny talking about it after the fact, because like Shane Foxcade, who's also a big boy,
he's a big boy.
Yeah, he also had a role, and like his role lasted way longer than anyone else's. Like he was doing it for like 7 minutes while we all went for like 3 or 3.5. And the difference was he kind of like just stayed sturdy and didn't offer anything, any limbs or any part. He didn't do much. He kind of just made it like you're gonna have to roll me around and open me up because I'm being defensive, And
yeah, don't bend.
And the thing is that ultimately, like, that is, you can do that. It'll take longer, but the person who knows more will ultimately win, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is one of those things where it doesn't matter if you're bigger or smaller. Little girls can make big men tap, right?
So,
but there's an important part. There's an important second part to the finish here, which is when you don't know what you're doing at all, which is me with this thing. There's a trying stuff out and finding out why it doesn't work teaches you more.
Yeah, right.
So if I'm going to stick my arm out to grab you behind the head or something, and you're going to go, no, you don't, I'm going to learn from that attempt. But I'm the kind of person who's like, well, let me go for it to learn what that is.
So this is a question specific to the area that you guys were doing this in. What were the rules on like knuckling the face?
Yeah.
Or finger bending?
Okay, so it was not an MMA fight that we were having. It was not full on mixed martial arts. It was just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which focuses on grappling, holds, and things like that.
I'm talking about grappling. I'm describing knuckling the face, not punching.
Okay.
Like just scraping your knuckles against somebody behind their ears. Up in their neck.
Yeah, I don't think that's okay. According to the rules generally. The other, however, is okay. I think you can absolutely grab someone's arm and or wrist and twist it. And at one point, when John, who's a blue belt, is fighting Karan Gaudrames, who's a black. And later, and he kind of described, he's like, oh, the difference between, John said, I am closer with no experience to him at blue than he is to black, right? It's exponential. Right. And at one point, James grabs him by the wrist and just does this, and then you just see him fall over and go, and he goes, I'm taking your belt away. And he's like, don't put that in the video, right? Because it's essentially something that is so beginner and so easy, but when you're afraid of a billion other high-level things, you forget about this one basic thing. So you're allowed to do that, but you shouldn't fall for that if you know what the fuck you're doing and you've been doing this for a while. To go back a second, though, with boxing, essentially... so the gym that I was at, and then like this is like a newer location that the coach kind of moved to, but the gym I was at is one that has like a large class, and when I was going, essentially the place is set up so that they're training like people that go to like Golden Gloves, which is like exactly, it's like real champs are going and going as far as possible. Olympic boxers are coming out of there too as well and stuff, right? So a lot of smaller gyms are kind of like, you get in there, you punch around with some people, you do some mitts and some drills, and then they're like, okay, get in the ring and spar. Whereas here, it was kind of like, yo, we're not going to waste our time with people. Like if you're not serious about this in a way, sparring is meant for people who are trying to get to that next level. That's kind of the
and we got people working here, all right?
That's the kind of impression I got, especially with a large class, and like not wanting to waste time with people that are kind of just coming in, and especially if you're just coming in for like, cardio or something like that, then it's like, yeah, we want people that are they're looking for people that are trying to compete or so. And so with that, it was always something that was like, sparring was, I'd love to get to that point, but I'm not there. I'm the person that's there doing the drills, doing the mitts, kind of working the bags, essentially hitting the lab, you know. And there would be like, you do like little drills outside where you and the other person would like, you do like a light sort of spar outside or so. But as far as getting in the ring experience and going for it, I had not done that. The only time I'd done it in the past was when I went to ComboCon, and HDM Executioner had us a gym, and he's like, yo, get in the ring, let's do it, you know. But overall, that's the lopsided thing, is like, while I've been at boxing classes and messing around and having fun with that and doing drills for years, full-on sparring experience was not something I had.
So you said the word lopsided, which actually brings me to my next a question, which is like, it's the question I've been thinking of over and over, and I wasn't going to ask it until the fight was over. What is the weight differential between you two guys?
I don't know how much he weighs, but
are you for real with that?
I don't know how much he weighs, but it's probably a decent one. Yeah, it's probably big. You know, I would imagine I have anywhere between 40 pounds or so on him, and
okay,
you know,
I'm under the assumption, I know you're taller. I know you're significantly taller. And I was under the assumption that you weighed proportionally more because you're much taller, right? Which means I have to give all the kudos in the world to John, because you, as the bigger, stronger opponent, risk like all pride and can like win none back, because if you did win, it would be like beating up children because of a small person.
Well, that's not how size works.
Not as much as if you beat up me, because how much pride could you feel in that?
But that's not how size works, and that's not in this case as well, with like sparring, when you're going into like a match where you're effectively like, there's no knockouts here per se. It's like we're moving, we're throwing punches, we're landing hits, but like at no point am I attempting to like rob his conscience. So there is a factor that's more about like how many hits you're landing and how cleanly you're landing them than it is about how hard you're landing that hit and whether or not the person is completely shut out as a result of it, right? That goes into how we handle that.
I don't understand what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that in that last fight, we weren't swinging at 100% because that's stupid.
It's stupid. It's a fight, Woolie. It's fun to see the man fall down.
Okay.
Don't you got any showmanship?
The showmanship was certainly getting out there and going for it as best as we could, with and also going like, all right, like the reason why coach wants people body sparring in the ring, the reason why people are generally doing this with headgear and such, is because again, when you don't know what you're doing and you're swinging your fist out there like an idiot at full fucking you know, at going 0 to 100, those are the people that like get really hurt, are really dumb, are really ignorant, and are not taking it responsibly, right? Like there's some, like when it comes to boxing and trying to do it with you know, like all bits aside, like you're a fucking dumbass if you go out there and do that. Like that's bullshit. And furthermore, that would, if I were to go out there and do that and actually like just be that, the person that people in the gyms are making fun of, that are making YouTube video compilations of acting like an asshole, like it would be so disrespectful to like that coach and that gym and everybody involved in, you know what I mean?
No, not in the gym. It would be in the field where no one can tell you to stop.
Okay, all right, sure. It would be crazy, like actually to go out there and be that asshole, and like I don't know if I'd get uninvited, but
how are you an asshole if it's a mutually agreed bout in a field?
Right, okay.
Like, no, hold on. If you showed up and John's like, let's spar, and you're like, okay, and then you fucking try and knock his head off, that's different. That's ridiculous. That's totally insane. But like, I have to tell you, coming from a place that like when I was in high school and my fucking martial arts class got invaded by adults in their 40s, and my sensei was like, yeah, just be better and fight them. and like adult man was like throwing 120-pound 5-foot guy me over the fucking wall with no gloves and like just getting raw. I'm like, yeah, okay, you get your fucking, you just handle it.
Okay, well, yeah, we decided to treat it like boxing and, you know, get in there and spar head and body and not try to do permanent damage. Ultimately, there was blood drawn, you know.
Did you consider blading at any point? if we're gonna like tone it down for the show, could you have considered, like,
I mean, I don't know,
like walking out on fake crutches?
I don't know if you want real answers or bit, but like,
hey, there's no bit here.
Okay, well, in any case, yeah, ultimately, well, you know, once you're sparring and you're you know, essentially like moving and hitting and landing, and, you know, points are a factor. So there's also no ring, certainly, so you're kind of just like in this wild open space.
Yeah, you were at like a massive disadvantage due to no ring. Like once I saw that you guys were in open field, I'm like, well, you're the larger opponent with longer arms. A ring would do you a lot of good, actually, certainly, in that situation.
Certainly. Yeah, but in any case, you know, there was already a level of like, okay, if we're gonna go back for that final round, and the most responsible way to do it would be to, like, you know, get back into the ring and get the headgear and go for it that way. That was not possible within the recording schedule time we had, so we made do with the field, and I thought that was cool in the end.
Is that the field near Verdun?
It's out there, yeah. So
okay, I actually grew up next to that field. That's super weird.
Yeah, there's a nice view of the city from out there.
Because I saw you guys out there. I'm like, I used to go to the park near there when I was a little baby.
But yeah, that's in the end. And in the end, like I said, you know, there was some blood drawn, but that was not the intent, certainly. But ultimately, we did want to like go for it, and yeah, and there's a feeling to it certainly as well, where like, even if you're not going at 100% of a swing, there are moments where you are moving in the wrong direction and you are moving into something. Oh yeah,
you multiply
right?
it.
Yes, exactly. So the difference between hitting a parked car versus hitting a car in oncoming traffic, the oncoming traffic version of that happens while you're sparring anyway, right? Which is why you still need to put a mouthpiece in, which is why you still need to be careful, and why you still need to be aware that like you can actually get knocked out, you know, if you're moving into something coming at you the opposite way. But yeah, overall, there's also like the main thing that like you get better at too is like that kind of footsie skill of like reacting to what's coming at you and like moving quickly and getting your counterpunch in, or like, you know, feeling out what they're doing and looking at their shoulder and stuff. There's a lot of that you're kind of like, that's getting in there. It's not just a big dumb fucking Walmart fight, but like there's parts of that where you can focus on and the technical and improve by kind of sparring like this, I guess. You know?
I do have a non-blood sport related follow-up question, which is, since you guys did like a boxing style first round and an MMA, a BJJ style second round, did you ever consider doing a like open gloves MMA thing for the third round?
Where it's a mixture of both styles? That, yeah,
because that's what I thought that third round was going to be.
There was a thought for a second about that, but the reality of the situation is like, whereas John and I both have some boxing experience, I have zero Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience, like literally none. It was just a funsies thing added onto it, right? Because Command Grab James, who is the BJJ guy, was here and was like, yo, come to my gym, let's have some fun. And it was like, okay, yeah, let's do a thing out of that. But ultimately, the challenge I gave John months ago was to go check out a boxing class. And he had...
Yeah, and that's how this just escalated infinitely.
Well, he took to it and continued going like multiple times a week, you know, with goals in mind. And but like me, I'm like I didn't have that necessary interest to go become a Brazilian jiu-jitsu like roller, you know, or player. So that wouldn't have that was the BJJ side of things is honestly just me flailing like a fish, going like, all right, how fast can you tap me out if I'm doing some random shit?
I think, Woolie, that your sense of fair play is a bit overactive, and that the way you structured these fights put you at an inherent disadvantage.
Yeah. I mean, I think I get that, but part of the fun was saying, yeah, fuck it, let's go. You know, I think from the jump, the moment it was like, yo, I've been sparring and practicing and going hard, let's do this. And I was like, oh, I haven't been doing anything. And I have no sparring experience, but boxing is cool. Fuck it, let's go for it. You know, and I got in there and I was like, yeah, let me just see what this is like, you know, but I'm absolutely that was what it was. And I had no illusions about getting in there and thinking like, oh yeah, my reach and all that are gonna make up for it. I'm like, no, I've got no cardio, I've got no gas, I'm not an athlete. Are you frozen? Uh-oh. Hold on a second. BRB. No, you're back. You're back. There we are. Okay. Yes. So, no, make no mistake. Like the moment that that was thrown down in it, and you know, John was like, "Yo, I've been boxing and sparring a whole bunch, and I'm getting into it." And also, he's a Taekwondo black belt as well, and has fought in competition for that. Before he became a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt, and has like you know, a lifetime of like fighting experience, and it was like,
absolutely,
I was kind of like, oh yeah, no, I have none of that. I have terrible cardio, I'm out of shape and don't know what I'm doing, but this is, I think this is cool, so let me just throw.
But you're bigger.
Yeah, so let me just throw myself into this and see what happens. But I know for sure that I'm not going in like, yeah, I know that for sure I'm not going in necessarily at anything besides a size advantage, but perhaps you're overestimating what size advantage means in the grand scheme of life in the world.
No, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not.
Okay, well,
Woolie, look at the camera with the tiny man on it. Trust me.
But the part that it seemed, but
everyone I've ever scrapped with in my entire life was like a foot taller than me.
But if there are also people that are scrappers, and or if there is if there's a fight where you're trying to end the person versus something where it's like more of a sport, and or something like jiu-jitsu where small people regularly tap out larger people because the nature of it,
of course,
is limbs and weight transfer and a whole bunch of other technical shit going on. It's not just this, you know, David and Goliath situation, you know, every time, and there's more to it just being like, you're bigger, you're heavier, therefore you should always win, you know.
No. What I'm saying is, you're bigger and heavier, therefore you should have organized these bouts
to be in my favor.
No, not your favor, but it'd be like, it would allow your natural advantage to work, because in an open field, John can and did consistently back away from your longer reach, which he wouldn't have been able to do if he was in a ring, because then you could have crowded him,
sure,
and then get real close and give him a hug.
Yeah, and in the body sparring match, actually, I did walk him down to the corner a couple times, and like I kind of tried to lock him in there, and I was like, ooh, I can use that to my advantage while trying to get like take one and give one for sure. But no, the thought about like how to organize it and set that up and stuff wasn't really, there wasn't much put into that either. I just kind of knew, I'm like, yeah, I have this much gas in my tank. It's significantly lower, you know, and I have this much experience as well, and I'm just gonna go in there and have fun, you know. I'm gonna go have fun. That's kind of what it was, and I wasn't really putting all that there, you know, forward, because I kind of just wanted to enjoy the exchange, you know, which I felt like I did. That being said, you know, this is the literal definition of got some good hits in, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, got some good hits in there. Took some as well. And I kind of was interesting watching back on it and kind of seeing like, oh, I have some tendencies. You know, I have some things where I'm like, oh, one thing I kept, like a couple tendencies were like, you know, sidestepping and like going for a hook, you know, and then a couple times I'd go for the sidestep to set something up, and it worked about half the time or so. Dropping my arms.
I'll give you a massive prop. You did not do a weird little spin.
I did not do a weird little spin.
You know? You did not do a weird little spin.
And I mean, again, and this is like, you know, meanwhile, Command Grab James was doing literal fucking Mashiba like flickers, you know, crazy shit. Yeah. But no, I did not slip at any point with that either, because I'm also like just being like, don't embarrass the fuck yourself or the gym or any of those places. Just keep it basic. Don't try to do anything crazy and stupid and fucking fall out and have your balls out, you know.
So like this, there was like multiple months of like abject confusion from me that I guess this is just the way my brain works. I was talking to Paige about this. I don't know what Woolie's doing. He's scheduling a fight right before the birth of his child. What if he like breaks his arm or gets like a serious concussion? Like, wouldn't that be like really like a bad time for that?
It would, and that would be why sparring was generally the approach we took, as opposed to.
So what you're saying is that if it wasn't for the birth of your child, it wouldn't have been sparring. It would have been like bare knuckle dukes in a pit.
I mean, realistically, regardless of kid, I don't know that as somebody who talks for a living, I'd ever want to fully go down the road of taking a lot of head blows for
it's not that
long term. Well, ask the football players and various punchy retired boxers how they feel. Yeah, so there we go. Right, like again, bitter reality. Right, I love boxing and I think it's really cool, but I also don't know that it would be great for me long term to walk into a situation where I'm getting hit up in the head constantly, and I don't think that you know, you would necessarily see the effects right away, but over time you would, you know, that's real, man. You know, and not to mention, of course, that like the time it takes to dedicate to get that good and to take it to that level is also like, okay, well, goodbye, YouTube.
Oh, but it's way more fun if you guys are just total amateurs and you just do no training whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, that, you know, I mean, there's drills, you know, there's mitt work, there's bags, there's shadow boxing. But at the end of the day, like, you know, real sparring against somebody is like, it's completely different from all.
Hey, listen, Woolie, you're a longtime friend of mine, and I love you, and I want to tell you that I support you in any fight that you take. But I also want to tell you that I respect you enough to let you die in the ring.
Good.
Okay.
No towels thrown.
No, you got in there and you knew what you were doing. Yes. And I would never steal that from you.
100%. I'm glad to hear it.
Ever.
Thank you.
I would also like to say I don't plan on fighting anybody in the future, but if I do fight someone and lose, I will die in the ring.
Okay. Okay. I will take that into account. And if I need to, the towel will actually be a pillow to just make sure that your final resting place is here.
If we haven't gone 12 rounds minimum and I'm on the floor, just piss on me and throw me in a ditch. It's what I would have wanted.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, man.
And I feel like you're the only person I know in my life that knows I'm telling you the truth. You're the only person I've known for long enough, and I heard me say the dumbest things in the world, that if I tell you, if I get into a fight of some kind of spectacle, pull all the rules off and let them break my legs.
Yep. I will encourage the ragdolling of your corpse afterwards.
Thank you.
There we go. Yeah. No, 100%.
It'd be so cool though.
It would be so cool. It would be
because like I'll be in the hospital and I'll be like, you should see the other guy, and the therapy dog will be on my lap.
Man, those views would go crazy.
This therapy dog.
Yeah. No, there is a obviously it goes without saying, but there's a whole lot you learn about yourself in the process of getting physical, and pushing it. And it's like when I'm seeing, I've been bringing him up, but Command Grab James and like the seeing like how he moved and like how he did that head.
That's a good nickname.
Yeah, pretty solid.
That's a good one.
How he did that headgear match and everything. I kind of was like, oh, if we just stopped and put out like if we just had this body sparring footage after building up all of this, like,
oh yeah, you needed more.
Could you imagine the wet fart?
Oh yeah,
of just like, all right, here you go.
I think going to the grappling,
you know,
is a really good follow up to that because, you know, punching and kicking and, you know, pads and whatnot. I mean, your neck getting choked out or your elbow being bent, that sucks.
Oh yeah, and it
sucks ass.
And every time I got tapped, or multiple of us got tapped with a Kimura, is called a move where you're just swinging the arm back, and he would see that and go, I can't look, and he would get really, really squeamish, and we're like, oh, did you like feel that one time really badly? And he went, no, I did it to someone and they refused to tap, and the difference between like tapping and breaking is an inch.
That is respect.
And he was so squeamish after doing that once to somebody who didn't tap that he's like, I hate this move. I can't look, I can't do it. You know? Because like once you feel doing that to somebody, then
you get to walk around the rest of the day with a heart on.
No.
What?
Or you never unfeel it, or the memory never goes away.
Wife pregnant. It's go time.
Yeah,
I just damaged a person.
All right, you know. Like he was getting so like squeamish about it because he's like, I've done that to people and it's fucking broken, and he hates it. Because that's not what you want to do. And you'll notice there's a thing here, people who are really, really good at fighting and confident in that are the nicest, kindest souls.
Oh yeah, they're very sweet.
With nothing to prove. They have, they walk around with like feather weight on their chests because they're just like, yeah, we're just like, we're chill. Everything's chill. If anything steps out of control, it's not, because I'm in control. Everything's fine, you know. Other people getting heated and shoving and butting and barking loud and whatever because they have no control over their situation or what's happening, and they don't know what's going to happen. So that fear is coming out as anger, so that they don't lose any fucking ball points. But when you are absolutely confident, you can just smile and chill and have no malice whatsoever in all of these situations, and that's how he is, you know. So yeah, he's the kind of person who's like, with a smile on his face, rolling people around, flipping them over, and being like, woo, hey, nice hands, let's go. And like, he sounds like he's having fun while absolutely massacring and mauling people.
You know, playing putt-putt with a 4-year-old. You're like, oh, good shot, buddy.
That's it. But you're hurting each other, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't see it up close, but like, his ears are the flattest cauliflowers you've ever seen.
I love it.
Like, it's that sign of like, oh, that the ears tell you. The ears tell you everything you need to know.
This is like slightly tangential. Do you know that in the TikTok fitness community, there is a trend that the Gen Zs are doing where they have their buddies drop weights on their ears?
Boy, so that's not new.
To fake having cauliflower ears. So
that's not new. That's been pre-TikTok.
Oh yeah. It's new to me.
That is a MMA gym bro move, or just it's not even that. You could just rolling it on the mat, right? Doing a lot of ear rolling on the mat to like falsely get that ear. I mean, listen. Have you ever seen synthol? Do you know what synthol is?
Yeah.
If you look up synthol, people are willing to do that to their bodies. So there's no surprise behind people forcing cauliflower ear in mine, because if you just, there's motherfuckers that want big muscles so badly that they'll inject themselves with liquid shit to make their arm look like a balloon, and it's horrendous.
You know what? Good for them. Fuck it.
It's illness, dude.
To have a bee deflate them.
It's fucking illness, you know? You're like, people are willing to do that. So of course they're
don't yuck their yum, Woolie.
Oh, yeah. Man.
If they want to be mentally ill and deform their muscles,
and then it melts or pops, and then all the worst things happen, you know?
Then it's cool as shit.
Oh, man. Yeah. So anyway, I got into a fight, and you can go check that out if you'd like, if you want to go see me getting
So you
punched.
did get popped a couple good times. I saw John got you a couple, like, in the kisser.
More in the.
Did you suffer any bruises from that at all?
No. He got me more to the body. Couple to the head, more to the body. I think
it's a little hard to tell with the body because you guys were wearing, like, bluntly, like you guys were wearing clothes.
Yeah.
So it's a little more difficult to tell.
So the amount of headshots we got on each other was closer to even, but he got way more to the body on me, and I kind of was like walking through them at first, and then I was like, he got one where I was like, oh, okay, no, stop walking through these. You know, there's the one where you see me go, ooh, right?
Yeah, you got a good old horf.
I get a horf out, and then you see me drop my hands, you're right. And then there's another one. There's a couple of those where there's hit reactions where I go, oh, the gloves come down, you know. And like, yeah, gloves coming down. Like there's the bits where you're kind of like you can. Your arms are tired, you know. So I'm just like, okay, I'm defending my head more than anything, and I'll be willing to tank some to the body until you're not willing to, you know. But no, I was fine. By basically about an hour afterwards, I was like, okay. I felt like a little bit of ringing, you know, and popped a Tylenol, and then by that night it was all good. He was feeling it way more, surprisingly.
You know what that means? That means you won. That means you won.
The next day, his head and his arm, he was talking about like how he was like still kind of feeling some of that, and I was like, oh shit, okay.
That means you won. 100%. 100%. You conclusively won.
There's no life bars.
Damage received versus damage given. That's the come on.
There were no life bars on screen. Yeah.
If you had kept going, then you would have concluded. You stopped the fight too soon.
If we kept going, I would have been a sweating, heaving mess because I was like gasping for air.
Use the sweat.
Oh man, cardio is rough, boy. Anyways, and
on a timeout, guy with less life, they lose. That's just like that is. Like, come on, that's easy.
The last 10 seconds or so, like my hair falls down, and you can see me in burnout, like being like,
"That's weird."
Oh fuck!
What you're supposed to do after the fight is when you ask somebody how you doing. Never felt better.
Yeah. You just
I feel great.
See the other guy.
Like, oh, it's like what? It's like, oh, I feel I should go work out more today.
Oh man, gasping. I pushed. Initially, the thought was 3 rounds, and then I was having so much fun. I said, let's do 4. And then I said, fuck it, let's do more. Let's keep going. You know, but yeah, the ability to build that up is the most important thing, I would say. And I felt myself having fun, but also like mad at my body for reaching its limit. It was such it was a dumb anime moment, but it really was like, damn it, I'm starting to fucking go here. We're starting to get warmed up, and I can't move my legs or arms anymore.
You know what you can do? You know what you can do to help with that?
Yeah.
Just start pissing your pants.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Because the adrenaline from the embarrassment is going to really just help you push through.
Oh, man. Yeah, I wonder what the ref has to say about that. I wonder if...
Well, there was no ref.
Right. True. There is an adrenaline dump, by the way, and Command Grab told us about that, but like there is a definite like about 30 seconds in, like armor, where you don't feel much, you don't feel anything really.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, because your brain's on, and then it's gonna go down. Which also you feel when you're getting tattooed.
Ideally, you would have wanted to have won by that point.
Yes, you would want it.
Like in the ideal world.
Right, but hey, this is not fucking Takamura or Tyson for that matter, where the impact, the strength stat doesn't mean much in a hit counting fight, right? So, anyways, that was that.
Did you go through the trouble of like counting every single hit over all the
footage? No. I mean, I by the end of the 5 rounds, I knew he touched me way more than I touched him, and I was like, yeah, that's that. Ultimately, it was one where he was like, he was kind of like, it doesn't even matter or so. But I'm like, yeah, no, but you got me. Like I can feel the tally if there were judges.